Here we presents the top 5 best Canon lenses. Starting of our listed number 5. Canon EF 16-35mm f2.8 LAI. Wide-angle lenses, as the name implies, have a much wider view than normal lenses. You can get super creative and play with angles and compositions. Wide-angle lenses distort perspective significantly, which makes for a cool effect. The Canon EF 16-35mm f2.8 L USM is the sharpest f2.8 ultra-wide ever from Canon. There is a reason they keep releasing new versions of this same lens. And they're constantly updating it for even more drool-worthy performance. For sports, action, landscape, interior, and anything else for which you need extreme performance at f2.8, there is nothing better. This f2.8 lens is for action and when you need ultimate performance. For more information and price, check out the product links in description, underneath the video. Coming in at number 4 of our list, Canon EF 85mm f1.2 LAI USM lens. The 85mm is likely one of my favorite focal lengths, and as such, I have gone through my share of 85mm lenses. None have stood out to me as much as the Canon EF 85mm f1.2 LAI USM. With an aperture as creamy as their Canon EF 50mm f1.2 L USM lens, the 85mm delivers at a much longer focal length. It's ideal for a variety of distance shoots, such as pets or candid portraits. And the low light capabilities due to the wide open aperture just add to the list of things this lens is a beast at. This lens is all metal, and can definitely survive some drops and hits. Canon's L-quality glass makes this lens a must-see for professional photographers. You'll notice the difference in sharpness, color, contrast, and vignetting. The Canon EF 85mm f1.2 LAI USM is not a lens for beginners. It comes with a steep learning curve. Halfway of our listed number 3, Canon EF 24mm f1.4 LAI USM. If you haven't quite figured it out yet, Canon has a great repertoire of wide aperture lenses. The company has figured out the perfect formula for beautiful, soft bokeh and incredible sharpness at an extremely wide aperture. Along with the 35mm f1.4L, this Canon EF 24mm f1.4 LAI USM is one of Canon's 2 fastest wide-angle lenses. It's a favorite among night sky photographers. This lens is notable for having very little distortion, and a slew of applications as a result. Not everyone gravitates towards fixed lenses. Sometimes what you really need is a zoom lens. All lenses have different focal lengths and f-stops. The focal length is the distance between the lens and its focus. It affects the perspective. Zoom lenses are very adaptable. You can go from a wide shot to a tighter shot in seconds. Number 2 of this list, Canon EF 35mm f1.4 L USM. Just as much a celebrity in the photography world as the 50mm. The 35mm grew to fame with its multitude of applications and videography use. As such, every camera brand on the planet has 100 different versions of this same lens. Canon have a rather memorable one. The Canon EF 35mm f1.4 LAI USM is an updated version of its predecessor with notable improvements. This lens is not small or light, but it is an impressive performer. It delivers remarkable image quality at an extreme wide aperture. We guarantee it will make any low-light photographer weak in the knees. The lens focuses to 11 inches, impressive for a 35mm. This lens is very sharp, especially for being so wide open. There is a big jump in clarity from other models, especially when compared to the Tamron or Sigma equivalent. And coming in at number 1 of our list, Canon EF 50mm f1.2 L USM. Next to the 35mm, the Nifty 50 is likely the most iconic camera lens of all time. It's been used since photography's inception. The 50mm lens has continued to entice and dazzle photographers to this day. But with its popularity comes the tedious task of determining which 50mm to use. There are hundreds to choose from. Canon supersedes all. The Canon EF 50mm f1.2 L USM is the sharpest 50mm at a faster aperture than f1.4. The colors and contrast are dazzling, and for creamy bokeh lovers, this lens delivers. Built very solid, the lens does have a substantial weight to it. but that is easy to overlook once you take a peek at its image quality. Intended for full-frame bodies, the Canon EF 50mm f1.2 L USM has an extremely fast autofocus. This is not very common for wide-aperture lenses. The lens also rocks an ultrasonic motor with a silent focus motor. This is great for photographing animals. For more information and price, check out the product links in description underneath the video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel, share this video and hit the like button.